Welcome to the magical land of Kenya, a country known for its natural beauty, colorful cultures, and exotic wild animals. A destination people visit from all over the world to be face to face with the world's most fascinating creatures. But imagine wandering this rugged landscape on foot and being only a few feet from these majestic beasts. On Lake Naivasha, there is a small crescent-shaped island where my family and I were able to take a walking safari, getting up close to the wildlife. And here's how it went.
Good morning, guys, and welcome to Kenya. This is going to be my home for the next month here, and this is where I was born. This is actually my homeland. I'm originally from Kenya. I've spent a few years of my life living in Kijabe, and then a couple years ago living in Nairobi, so I'm very excited to be back here. And for the first 10 days or so, I'm on a family vacation here. My parents are living in Kenya. I have my sister and brother-in-law and aunt and uncle that are joining us. So the next 10 days or so, we're gonna go on a few different adventures around Kenya. We're based in Kijabe, which is just about an hour north of Nairobi. And we're gonna be going on a few adventures. We're gonna be going on safari. We're gonna be going to a tea farm, a giraffe center. And today, to start the adventure, we're right on Lake Naivasha here, which is another hour north of Kijabe, so about 2 hours from Nairobi. And Naivasha is this really big lake here, and on the lake there's Crescent Island, and on Crescent Island we have a couple wild animals, a lot of giraffes, zebras, wildebeest, and some impala. We'll take a boat out on Lake Naivasha, head out to Crescent Island, and then it's a bit of a walking safari, so we can just walk amongst some of the wild animals. And then even as we were driving in towards Lake Naivasha here, we saw some giraffes, some zebras, some wildebeest off in the distance here. So very excited to show you guys a few different adventures. Again, this is going to be a little bit more disjointed. We're on a family vacation, so we're going to be doing a couple different activities across a couple different days. So very excited to take you guys along, show you one of my favorite countries in the world here, Kenya. And yeah, pretty soon we're going to jump on one of these boats and head across Lake Naivasha to show you guys Crescent Island. We are out on the boat on the way to Crescent Island, and we have 4 hippos here. Just nice view in them. Just had about a 15-20 minute boat ride floating around Lake Naivasha here, and we saw those first 4 hippos, but then we saw about 20-25 hippos all together just popping their head out of the water there, and just these beautiful views of Lake Naivasha. And then we saw a lot of birds, and now we've just docked on Crescent Island, and the Crescent Island is actually a crescent shaped island here. And again, you can do walking safaris of the island here, check out some of the wildlife and some of the views of Lake Naivasha. So we're paying a $33 entrance fee here, and then we'll start walking around, seeing what we see along the island here. So yeah, let's check it out. First stop here on Crescent Island is there's a little ostrich enclosure and you can actually buy some food and feed them.
So that was the Ostrich Enclosure here and feeding them. And it's amazing how massive these birds are, especially when they're standing and their heads are up. They're probably like 7 or 8 feet tall. So really giant birds. So anyways, that's right at the beginning. It's a little enclosure, but now we're gonna exit the enclosure here, and then we're just gonna start our walk through the rest of the island, which is just completely wild here. So it looks like right when we're exiting here, I see a bunch of monkeys, some zebras, some impalas, and then you have the beautiful Lake Naivasha off in the distance here. So let's head out and check out the zebras here. This is amazing. We're just out here on Crescent Island, just walking around nature here, and you just have these zebras. We had impalas running by. We saw a couple water bucks, some monkeys, and we've just entered the park here, and we have a couple hippos right on Lake Naivasha right there. We have all of these dead trees and just amazing scenery surrounding us here, and you have this beautiful sound of the birds that are chirping through the trees, and it's just so natural, and it's so cool to be on this safari, but you're just walking and you're not in the confines of a vehicle and just getting so close to this wildlife. This is insane. Just walked a little further ways along the Crescent Island here along the water, and we have about a dozen hippos that are just out of the water here grazing. And they're one of the most dangerous animals to humans, but you can walk just right up to them here. So we're gonna respect the distance, but look how close we're getting to these hippos that are just grazing on the island. Amazing viewing there, just seeing the mix and variety of animals just eating all together there, and you could really appreciate how big the hippo is next to the impalas and the zebras. And yeah, very cool. So we're gonna keep walking around Crescent Island. Just been walking through the fields here, and we've found the python, and fortunately we have our ranger who saw it, but we have this 20-foot long python just
wriggling through the grass here. We're probably about 15-20 feet from it, but it is a massive snake. I've never seen something so big. It's crazy. That was insane. We just saw the python 20 feet long, squiggling through the grass there, and we were like probably 5-10 feet from it at one point, and got some amazing views of this python just coiling around. And then he eventually like darted into his hole, and then we saw him slither into the hole, and our guide said that we were very, very lucky to see the python out of its hole and that active. So very, very cool. Anyways, we're gonna keep going along the island here, and I think there's some giraffes that he wants to show us next. So yeah, let's keep walking and check out the rest of the animals on Crescent Island. We've just walked about 5 minutes from the python here to the more northern part of the island, and we have 2 adult giraffes here and then 2 of these babies at least right here. And it's amazing being able to walk right up to them. We're probably just about 15-20 feet from these massive animals. This has been an amazing viewing of the giraffes here. You're literally just like 10-15 feet from them as they're feeding on these acacia trees, and you can see their tongue wrap around the thorns there. And yeah, just amazing to see these things in the wild, but not be in the confines of a car or having any fences. It's literally just us and then the giraffe. So very, very amazing. So anyways, I think this is about most of the Crescent Island. We have a little bit further to walk to catch our boat back to the mainland. So let's keep walking and we'll head to the boat and see what else we see along the way. Alright guys, we have just gotten to the northern part of the island here, and we're going to jump back on the boat, head back to the mainland, and then eventually back to Kajabi for the rest of the afternoon. But that was just such a cool safari experience. I've never experienced something like that before, where you're just walking around with all of these wild animals. And again, you don't have any predators on the island, so it's pretty safe, but still, it's still a wild island. So you have to be careful of how close you get to some of the hippos and even some of the giraffes, and just be careful with some of the wildlife. But such a cool experience seeing some of the zebra, some of the wildebeest, the giraffes up close, so many hippos, and that python was just unreal. I'd never seen anything like that. And again, you just have no walls, no fences, no barriers, and a really unique experience. So anyways, that's it for today. Again, we're going to be doing a couple other adventures with the family trip here throughout Kenya. So I think in a couple days we'll be heading to Mrs. Mitchell's tea farm, and we'll be seeing one one of the tea plantations here in central Kenya. And then again, we'll be doing another safari that might be a separate video, doing the Masai Mara, and then we'll be doing a giraffe center one of these days. So yeah, that's it for today. We'll see you guys in a couple days to head to the tea farm.